I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. What's the weather like? Dark, rainy, yucky. Texas. Bet it's sunny there. If it is, I don't really want to hear about it. Mexico, San Diego. Probably sunny there too. I don't really want to hear about it. If you're from Alaska, I'd love to hear from you. I'm just so sick of winter. I lived in Australia for 20 years with no seasons, basically summer all year round. Loved it. Loved it. I'm not a winter person at all. It is, but it can change on a dime. Yeah, but usually in those hotter climates, it changes, but then it doesn't stay bad weather for long. Like I know in Australia, we get buckets of rain, like tons. But then 5 minutes later, the sun was out. So anyway. Thanks, Rebecca. That's really sweet. I appreciate the support. It's interesting. I have been really trying to answer comments. Lately, I've got it on a daily schedule now. I'm really trying to get to I don't do all the comments. I'm trying to get to a lot of them. And Facebook, holy, a whole bunch of people are coming after me on there. I didn't know that. But whenever I'm quite new on Facebook, whenever I first go on a platform, people come after me like you wouldn't believe. I love all that stuff. Anyway, it was fun. I had a riot. Okay, I'm in Minnesota, and this has been my most favorite winter. So warm. Oh, nice. Minnesota, that usually gets really cold, doesn't it? I can't complain. Vancouver's very mild compared to the rest of Canada, but we do get a lot of rain because it's a rainforest. So anyway, let's get going with your parenting questions now that we've talked about the weather. And okay, I'm new to all of this. Also, I am a nana, and I'm a grandmother, and I just started watching my grandchildren 100% of the time. So do you have custody of your grandchildren? Yeah, I'm interested. Times change, but people don't. We all still have the same needs. Our wants change, but our needs always stay the same. We want to feel loved, safe, protected, all that sort of stuff. So I've been working with kids now for 52 years, and it's all the same. We all want to feel respected and heard and loved and want to have fun. Kids' love language is fun. Okay, so you play with them. My kids are 9 and 11, love to make drama at school. And the principal told me no more drama or that's big stuff. You might want to hire me for that, like one-on-one coaching. If not, check out my boot camp course. There's a lot going on there. If the principal says they're out, that's a big deal. So you don't want them out, not at that age. You don't want them out at any age, but they're so young. You might want to hire me. Check out the link above for coaching if you're interested. At the very least, you can get my free behavior board, or my boot camp course is sort of in between the behavior board and coaching is the boot camp course. It's all about you and getting respect. Yes, I do, 1-to-1. Well, now you're okay. Okay, yeah, just check it out. But send me an email, because I'm not letting people sign up automatically anymore because I get super busy. I want to be able to shut it down when I need to. But right now I am taking new clients, and it changes. Right, next week I might not be. I don't know. Do you take insurance? No, I don't. I have no formal qualifications whatsoever. So I'm just a parenting coach. I just learned through experience. You know what's good about that is because I have no formal qualifications, I'm not under anyone's umbrella. So this is all just my opinion, which is good. I have freedom of speech here. I was going to be a child psychologist, but yeah, I thought, no, that's not for me. I want to be able to say what I say and do what I do. Okay. So parenting questions. I'm going to answer a question that I got. It was actually Kelly Bender here on Facebook. It's regarding teenagers. And I said, if you turn up to a live, I'll answer that question because it's a little bit of a longer answer. I didn't just want to type it out. Now, what I say is when my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers, I'll read those out first. Sugar, hit the wrong thing. These are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or else you'll be considered a nag and they will shut you out and they won't talk to you. So you get really good at what I call silent listening. Use these more than that, and they'll tell you everything. Number 2 is negotiate pretty much everything. That is in reference to the question she had. And the last one is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. Anyway, so you negotiate pretty much everything. And the example I use is it goes something like this. You say, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? So this is what Kelly said. If they don't do the laundry, when do you go to media blackout? So in other words, you ask them to do something and they won't. When do you go to media blackout? Do you set a specific time they have to do the laundry by? say they didn't do their laundry on Thursday, so now it's everyone's laundry. Is the time okay? So their rule is they have to do their laundry. If they don't do their laundry, it's media blackout. Yes. Yes. But you see, the negotiating is that you are on there also. So you said to them, their rule is do the laundry. Then you say to them, what do you want from me? And then they get to put down your rule, so long as it's fair and reasonable. Asking a teenager to do laundry is fair and reasonable. And they have to put down a rule on the behavior board. Check out the behavior board. It's free in my link there in my bio. And then they get to say to you, like, you're negotiating pretty much everything. I want you to do your laundry. What do you want from me? So then they understand if they don't do their laundry, it's media blackout. You have to have a time limit on it, though. You have to say something like, you have to finish your laundry before midnight. You don't want them up at 2 a.m. doing laundry. But yeah, there's a lot. Teenagers are my favorite age. Because when you learn how to get respect with a teenager, they're a lot of fun. Because they're kind of on par. They're actually smarter than us in that their brains work more efficiently. They're fascinating. Okay, let me see here. Hi, what are your suggestions for a 17-month-old who is starting to hit and bite? I actually have a course on that called Toddlers Who Hit, Bite, Etc. If you're interested, basically it's just consistent corrective actions. And a corrective action is something like this. If they hit or bite, you hold their hand and just sort of push them away and you say no, and then you might walk away. If they come at you again, you do it again. Say no, and you just keep walking away. They'll eventually learn. If they don't learn the first time, probably not the first 50 time, maybe the 51st. You know what's funny with kids, though? Is you got to be consistent and consistent corrective actions. You got to be consistent. If you do this right 9 times out of 10 and you don't do it the 10th time, they remember that. They remember your mess ups more than what you do right. I remember my son, we were laughing once. He was a teenager, like 18 or something. And we were laughing at all the stupid things I did as a mother. And then I said to him, I says, so what did I do right? And he went, what? So they remember your mistakes. They just do. They love that. The way he said that, the what? You did something right? Okay. What do you think about go Henry on 2 to 2? Henry, go. I don't quite understand your question. Something I want to bring up that came up a lot is, I don't remember what video it was, but it came up in a lot of videos, is when I said the consequence is a chore. And then people, drives me nuts because it makes no sense at all to me. I don't want chores to be seen as a consequence or a punishment. I want them to enjoy chores. Who enjoys chores? It's good that they don't enjoy them because they've got to learn to do what they need to do before they can do what they want to do. Why on earth are you worried about chores being considered negative? I have no concept of why that would bother you. And so many people ask it. If you could inform me on why that would bother you, I would really appreciate it. I have no idea why that would. We don't want a chore to be a consequence because we don't want them to think chores are negative. Who enjoys scrubbing a toilet? Okay, I do. I'm weird. I love cleaning, but I'm unusual. Even as a kid, I always liked cleaning. So yeah, can you explain that to me? Anybody? Okay. My kids do chores in the morning and chores in the afternoon. I put them on a whiteboard, but it's the same every day, but they still forget to do them. Why? Well, I don't know if your chores are fair and reasonable. I'd have to assess that. Are they fair and reasonable? And if they forget to do them, where's the consequence? I would be speeding down the road every single day at top speed. Well, not in my little car, but anyway, if there was never any consequence, I probably would never pay taxes either if I didn't have to. We all live by consequences. Would you actually pay for groceries if you knew you never had to? If there's no consequence for not paying? The government covers all that. You see what I'm saying? Where's the consequence for not doing it? That's how we learn. We all learn through being accountable. Consequences. That's what keeps us accountable. So what's the consequence for not doing their chores? Just make it something fun. It might be they have to give you a makeover, brush your hair. I love all that. My kids hated doing it and I loved having it done. So it can be something that simple. Hey, look, you forgot to do your chores today. Makeover time for mommy. That's what I would have done. They hated doing it. I loved having it done. Oh my God, you always have to have me thinking. Thank you. Okay, that's what I'm here for. I really want to shake things up here. If you're really struggling with your kids, it's not just a matter of tweaking something. It's a whole new way of looking at it. I teach leadership. You want to give respect to get it. You want to have fun with your kids. You want to be friends with your kids, but you're still the leader. Leaders bring out the best in children. You do that by giving respect to getting it. That's to get it. That's why you're on the behavior board. Notice you were on that behavior board too. By the way, the behavior board's completely free. It's in the link in my bio. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for one-on-one coaching. That's not done automatically anymore. You have to send me an email because I'm pretty busy these days, so I can't always take on new clients with coaching. Right now, I can, but maybe next week I won't be able to, so you have to email me. Okay, new questions on there. I'll look on, what's it called? YouTube. When my 3-year-old is mad, she'll shush you and tell you to stop talking to her. I ignore it, but my sister will tell her she can't talk to her like that. Okay, she's doing that because she doesn't respect you. Work on your leadership skills. That would not happen. That's in the attitude department, and I never address attitude. It's an organic thing. It improves once you improve your parenting style. So you set yourself up as a leader. That's all I talk about here is leadership. You can check out my free behavior board, my mini toddler. She's 3. Check out my boot camp course. So check out my free behavior board or my boot camp course, or the top level is coaching one-on-one with me. I'd suggest the boot camp course. It teaches you how to be a leader in 5 weeks. You wrote something down. I don't know what it means. And I don't want to ask in case it's something rude because I've got myself in trouble with that before. What are some examples for parents on, is that rude? Or on birthday? Is that birthday? Someone put an acronym in about a year ago, and I read it out, and everyone was saying, "Stop talking, Lisa." Stop. It was something really rude, and I didn't know it. I'm 63. I can barely keep up. Okay. The chores in the morning. Okay, is trash out, water for the dogs for 9-year-old, 11-year-old, put away the dishes, clean the bathroom. Oh, okay. This is an 11-year-old. Clean the bathroom that she uses it. That's about the afternoon ones. They always forget, and they are the same thing. Almost sounds like a lot. It almost sounds, I'm going to be misrepresented on this, but I had basically just a few standard, okay. I just had chores for my kids from the age of 3, and I'm going to go on about this a little bit here. So they had to, every single day, they had to make their bed, put their laundry away, because I did laundry every day, and put their toys away. Now, it took under 2 minutes. I'm very organized, and I'm more of a minimalist. So for their clothes, there was like an empty hanger, an empty spot where their rolled up socks and undies went. Then I put all their toys went on a bookshelf, so it was all easy just to put that away. And their bed was just a duvet cover that they had to pull up. Now, the other stuff, because you're talking about, okay, the other stuff is like they knew that they had to put their dishes in the sink. They knew that they had to put their shoes in the cubby. They just did all those things automatically. So because they learned that, there's no TV until that stuff's done. You got to clean up after yourself. You don't leave a mess behind, basically. But unless they're playing, that's different. But so yeah, I'm just kind of, it almost sounds a little bit regimented. And twice a day you have to do this. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have responsibilities at all. I was very much into that. But yeah, I don't know why it's kind of not resonating with me. I don't know. Can't put my finger on it. Can't quite explain it. There you go. Does that make sense though? Like, it probably doesn't. Never mind. Sorry, did my best. Behavior board. That's in the link above. You can get that for free. It can take up to 20 or 30 minutes to arrive in your email, because a lot of people say, I didn't get the behavior board. I never answer them because I know it's going to arrive. Because if you're like me, I might lose my internet. My internet went down earlier, and I just got a bit of a funny message here. Oh well. I hope I'm still here. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, behavior board. Yeah, a lot of people, like I do that if I sign up for something, and if I don't get the package right away, I didn't get it. And then it turns up a minute later. Oh, never mind. You just have to wait a while. It'll turn up. I've got like a third-party delivery system with, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's too much. Yes, it does. Oh, well, did make sense? I actually made sense? Okay. Yeah, it sounds a little bit too regimented for me. Organically, I just expected them to clean up after themselves. I wasn't going to micromanage them. 13-year-old, is this too much for chores? Dishes 5 days a week, load and unload, clean room, make bed, and take the laundry once a week, their clothes, thoughts. Oh, geez. I don't know what to say. I don't know your household, and I don't know. You know what? I mean, my kids, when they were teenagers, they really didn't have any chores. It was just, hey, well, they knew they couldn't leave a mess behind them. They knew that much. Their rooms, I let them keep messy, but there was no food and no dirty laundry allowed in their rooms. That was it. I said, keep it as messy as you want. And I'm not OCD, but a lot of people think I am. I'm very fussy, but I just decided to give my teenagers the gift of a messy room. And except for no food and no dirty laundry in there, because I said I didn't want rat empires growing in there. And then they knew they had to put their dishes in the dishwasher. They just did this stuff. Plus, if I said to them, hey, look, can you just run the vacuum around the house? They would just do it. So they were cooperative. But I didn't expect too much. One of the main reasons is I love cleaning. I didn't want them not doing it right. But they couldn't leave a mess behind. Like they couldn't walk along and leave a mess behind them. That was sort of my rule. But I didn't want them really doing the cleaning. We had 4 bathrooms, and I didn't want them cleaning the bathrooms. But I didn't want them leaving toothpaste in the sink either. Does that make sense? I didn't want them scrubbing anything, but I didn't appreciate toothpaste in the sink. Stuff like that I didn't like. So yeah, you got to find what works for your household. But yeah, I did give them the gift of a messy room, which you'd think drive me nuts when you saw how fussy I was. But I just thought you got to give them something, give them their own space to handle how they want. And then when I did ask them to clean up something like a communal area where we all were, it wasn't unfair because they weren't expected to clean up their room. I gave them something, right? Plus, I was very nervous about putting my fussy ways on my kids. Not nervous about it, but I made a decision early on because I know I'm nuts you should see the way I clean. I'm nuts. I enjoy it. I find it, if I'm stressed out, I'll get out the mop. That to me is relaxing. If I'm stressed out, I'm going to get out a sponge and some disinfectant and I'm going to go to town. That's my idea of relaxation, but I didn't want my kids to have to be fussy, because it's not for them. Neither of them are super fussy. Yeah, my daughter's more of a minimalist though, like I am. But yeah, I didn't want them to think they had to be like that. There's certain things that are just your own personality traits. I didn't want to put that on my kids. And being overly fussy, I thought was not fair to them. Where do I get the behavior board? That is in the link above in my bio. I don't know why I'm going like that. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's called a bio here on Facebook or whatever, but anyway, it's in the link. Big family, we're in a small space. Even more reason to be a minimalist and really organized. You know, you're doing yourself a favor if you got very few things out at any given time. That's why I had a toy rotation system going. So they were allowed to throw their toys all over the place and play with them, but there weren't very many of them. So, yeah. Okay, on YouTube, what age do you start this routine? The routine, you mean with chores? I started at 3, and it was under 2 minutes, took them. But because, they just had to pull out the duvet, messy, it didn't matter, put their clothes away. I had an empty hanger. I had empty spots where the rolled up undies and socks went, like everything was very organized. And there was an empty shelf where the 5 toys had to be put away because they only had like 5 toys out at any given time. That's why they were never bored, because they always had I rotated them. So it was different all the time. But yeah, it was under 2 minutes. I don't remember ever having to remind them, just because I wait till they'd say, can we have a snack? Sure, as soon as you finish your chores or whatever. And they'd go and do it, under 2 minutes, and then they'd come out and have a snack. So they learned the as soon as method. Can we watch TV? Sure, as soon as you've done your chores, then you can watch TV. That's why I never really told them what to do. I taught them the as soon as method. I taught them you got to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do. And they didn't have to clean up everything. Like the toys could stay out all day. But at the end of the day, I would say, oh, by the way, toys get put away now. Hi, I just started following you from Central Alberta. I have a 3-year-old in 3 weeks, 1-year-old and a 1-year-old and a 5-month-old. Wow. I love your videos and love the advice. I'm excited to learn and get. Oh, okay. I thought there was going to be a question there. Thanks for your support. I always appreciate that. Very much so. I'm trying to, on a regular basis, answer more comments now. I just get so caught up with all the business stuff at the back end of what I'm doing. But a lot of that's sorted out now. January was a crazy month for me. And now I've got that sorted out. So I've kind of got, and also I'm controlling coaching more because I used to allow people to sign up on my website and then I can get like crazy busy. So now I'm regulating that. You have to email me if you want to work with me one-on-one. So if I can't take on any new clients, I can control that and just say, we'll just have to wait for a month or whatever. But yeah, so I'm trying to answer more comments now. But still, the best place to ask me questions is on here, is the live. This is really where I answer questions. Like if I went in and answered all the just miscellaneous parenting questions on all my platforms, I literally wouldn't be able to sleep. I mean, they just, especially with DMs. So yeah, just to let you know, if I'm not necessarily answering messages, but I'm trying to look at all the comments because the comments serve everybody, but a message is one-on-one, me answering you one parenting question, that might take me a minute or two. And if I do 500 of them, see what I'm saying? I can't. So yeah, and it's not serving anyone but one person. So that's why the comments I'm more focused on. If you really need to get a hold of me, you want to know about my services and that, I only answer parenting questions on these lives. But if you want to know about my services or something else like that, you can email me. That's on the link in my bio. What are some examples of parents on the behavior board? If you yell, no yelling, always no yelling. One family or a couple families right now, the parents tend to swear. So you've got no bad words is their rule. Another one is millions of them. You can just have fun with it too. You say, the rule is you have to play hide and seek for 10 minutes. And I always say, always make sure you mess up so you show them how this is done. If you forget to play hide and seek for 10 minutes every single day, then you have to play for 20 minutes the next day. You're playing hide and seek with young children. They don't understand that you actually haven't done anything extra, just doubling it for the next day. But yeah, so it's just, you can make it fun stuff too. So you're either going to stop doing something that they don't like or that's not good for them, like yelling, or you're going to start doing something fun with them. That's your rule. And the consequence is always doing something fun with them, something they would love. So a consequence wouldn't just be you can't have coffee that morning. What's that doing for them? It would be you have to play hide and seek for 10 minutes or whatever. It's really funny when I'm coaching parents. They always look confused and they're stressed out and they want to talk about all the stress they're going through in the first session. By the third or fourth session, you should see the difference. They're like empowered. They're like, I get it. I'm getting it. It just makes sense. It's a leadership just makes sense. You lead, they will follow. Every child needs, craves, and wants a leader. If you don't provide that for them, they're going to be very vulnerable out there in the world. They're going to be very vulnerable to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. You get the idea. They're going to go searching for leadership elsewhere. Whenever I hear parents say, oh, they got in with a really bad crowd, they're just followers, it's because you're not a leader. They will always follow the parent and want to please the parent from the age of 3 to 12 years old. That's when you're at the height of your leadership. Oh, sugar. I'm worried about my internet dropping. Just a sec. Never mind. Okay. 4-year-old has fits of rage when he doesn't get what he wants. Yeah, okay. That just says you're not a leader. That's a tell for me because at the age of 4, they only do what works. It means you're afraid of him, and he knows it. You're afraid of his behavior, and he knows it. He's got power, and he knows it. So anyway, check out my boot camp course. That might be for you. It might be perfect for you. The next level up would be one-on-one coaching with me. That's all in the link above. Check the boot camp course out, though. We're never fixing kids here. We're teaching parents. You lead, they will follow. Their behavior from the ages of 3 to 12, when you're at the height of your leadership power, under the age of 3, they're just nuts anyway, or they're just too little. And then 13 and up, you want them to be more their own leaders. You're there for backup. You're the big kahuna, you're the big leader, but you want them to manage the small stuff. You're just there for the big stuff with teenagers. And even then you discuss everything with them. But from the ages of 3 to 12 years old, your children's behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. It just is. How do you handle whining, crying, 21? Oh, yeah, just ignore it. Just ignore it. They'll eventually move on to something that works. And if that doesn't work, they'll eventually move away from it. So don't walk away in anger or anything. Just if they whine, I would just go like that, and then just go about my business. As soon as they talk nicely, though, then I would give them some attention. So you reward what you do like and ignore what you don't like. You don't do that with everything, but with whining, yeah, that's what I would do. I got a lot of different ways of dealing with it, but that's just the easiest one to explain, the quickest. Okay, my 5-year-old has been complaining more and more. I've tried ignoring it when he does it throughout the day, but it doesn't seem to do it. He's been complaining more and more. What? He's just, I don't quite understand. Complaining about what? Just a negative attitude? I can't answer that because I don't know when did it start and what's he complaining about. So that's on YouTube. If you want to give me some more information, I might be able to answer better. I just don't know why he's complaining. Okay. I'm just going to go through, I've got no questions right now, so I'm just going to go through this one. I just have a whole bunch of points I like to hit on. Something that is interesting is that parents tend to praise often the wrong things. You're so good looking. You're so smart. And I'm not big on praise anyway. I think that that's another subject. If you want me to talk about people tend to overpraise and underplay with their children. Their love language isn't praise, it's play. Have fun with them. But anyway, I taught my kids, you're just lucky if you're smart and good looking. Don't take credit for that. Don't be proud of that. You just won the lottery, okay? Be proud of what you do, how you treat people, how you act. So I wanted them to be proud of who they were, not the stuff they were born with, the natural born talents. You can use them and take advantage of them. That's great. It's just luck, right? But it's just that. You can't take pride in luck. Sounds kind of silly, but as they get older, it makes more sense. I'm just going to read. I'm not getting many questions here, so I'm just going to read. This one is for, I didn't even write it down. Anyway, I wrote down how to apologize. I never wrote it. It's not silly, it's the truth. Yeah. Okay. This is how to apologize. And I think the sooner you teach this to your children, the better. I think it's also a lot of adults could learn this. I have a few pet peeves. Everyone does. One of them is if someone does me wrong and they just say, sorry. And if it's something that they repeatedly do, I would never just say, that's okay. I just go, okay. Like I just go, all right. Like, where's the amends? Where's the rest of the apology? There's 4 steps to a real apology. Number 1 is say you're sorry, which I don't really care about. It's often overused, and that's the end of it. That's it. That's all I get. Sorry, I killed your whole family. Sorry. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. 4 steps to a good apology. Number 1, say you're sorry. Number 2, take full responsibility for what you did. So I wouldn't have yelled if you hadn't done that. You don't blame the other person for what you did wrong. Number 3 is the big one. Make amends. What can I do to make it up to you? Offer something. Let them ask for something. What can I do to make it up to you? That's the real apology. And then number 4 is don't keep doing it. If you keep doing the same wrong thing over and over to that person, that apology meant nothing. So yeah, there's no sincerity in it whatsoever. So yeah, say you're sorry, take full responsibility for what you did, make amends, and then don't keep doing it. Teach this to your children. I remember my son, he's very, very witty, and which can really backfire when they're teenagers. They come up with some good stuff. Anyway, I was bragging about how, and I'm really good at apologizing. And so are my kids, actually. And because I taught them this. And I said to my son once, I was bragging, I'm really good at apologizing. And he says, well, that's because you've had so much practice. Smarty pants. I laughed. Okay. My daughter got her period. I didn't find out until we went to the pediatrician. She got it in November. We went in January. I feel so bad because she didn't tell me, like, Mom, to help. Okay, so you're upset that she didn't confide in you. Well, how old is she? They can be 9 these days and get their period. Anyway, if you don't talk about sensitive issues, they're less likely to bring them up with you. I talked about everything with my kids. I'm going to tell you the funniest story. My son was, I don't know, 10 or 12 even. We were in a grocery store. We were at the checkout, and I'm putting all my groceries up on the belt. My son is. He's putting all the groceries up on the belt, the conveyor belt, and he holds this package and he goes, why on earth would you need a self-adhesive napkin? What do you stick it to your chin? He had no idea what it was. And then I just went like this. And whenever I did that look and a smile, he went, oh no, what did I do? And all these women around started laughing. Who needs a napkin strapped to their chin while you're eating? How messy are you? Self-adhesive napkins. Oh God, I love that story. Anyway, what was the point in talking about that? Anyway, we talked about everything all the time, but obviously I didn't talk about self-adhesive napkins. But yeah, we talked about a lot. The more open you are, and it doesn't have to be talked about with confidence. And you don't have to have the talks. You just bring stuff up all the time. They're more likely to talk to you. Yeah, I talked about it. That's why my kids told me everything. Stuff I didn't even want to hear right through the teen years. So yeah, because I discussed everything. And I said, and it doesn't mean it was easy. It just means I did. I discussed online stuff. I discussed sex. I discussed everything with my kids, age appropriate, so that they told me everything. Yeah. I was just thinking, I don't always want to hear it, but yeah. So you be an open book and they will be. By the way, when you're discussing sex and all that stuff, it's a one-way street. If they ask about your sex life, say, you can tell your kids can tell you about yours. You can tell me about yours or about theirs, but it's a one-way street. Yeah, I won't be discussing my sex life with my kids. 11. Oh, she's 11. Okay, yeah, just start talking about everything. I talk to my kids about drugs and sexuality, being gay, trans, everything that, would be supposedly awkward. I just talked about it like it was nothing. Like I just discussed everything. And it was organic. It was organic. It's not like I ever just sat down and listen, I want to discuss, if you ever feel like you have feelings for the same sex. It was nothing like that. It was just organic. And that's why because I was an open book with all that stuff, I was very easy to talk to about it. Yeah, it's awkward. For a lot of parents, it's awkward. I talk a lot more openly in coaching about funny stuff. So I can't go into it here because I get kids on here, right? So yeah, coaching, I've told some pretty funny stories about talking to kids about, everything. Well, you're confused about your 11-year-old girl knowing what's going on. Well, all her friends are talking about it. She's got access to online. Are you confused? I don't understand that. There's a lot of information out there. Just because you haven't told her doesn't mean they do it. By the way, they're going to see everything online anyway. It may as well come from you. And the stuff that they look up online, I really don't want to talk about this on live. Oh shoot, I'm late for Instagram. Anyway, they're going to hear about it eventually. So you'd rather they hear it from you. I got to move over to Instagram now. Check out the link above, and if you want to follow me over to Instagram, it's Bratbusters Parenting. Drats, I'm late again. Darn me. I did this Tuesday also. There we go. Darn, that makes me mad. I hate it when I'm late. Why do I do that? Hello. Sorry I'm late. I got gabbing on Facebook and I lost track of time. I did that on Tuesday too. I don't really want to set an alarm because I don't like the sound of it going off when I'm doing a live. But anyway, sorry. I hate being late. Sorry. Boston. Hello, Boston. You've been here before. I've had a few people say they're from Boston. Honeybreed. That's cute. Hi. Okay, and just so you know, someone requested to come in on the live. I never let anyone come in. Just because I had Toronto. Hi, Toronto. Australia. Hi, Australia. So my kids were born and raised. I got 2 different people from Australia. I got some clients right now from Australia too. New Zealand. I got a client from New Zealand too right now. Or I think I just finished with them. Iowa, sorry. I always get Idaho, Ohio, and Iowa mixed up. Whew. Another Boston. Excellent. Northern Virginia, Hawaii, San Diego, California. Why do you always say California? Doesn't everyone know San Diego's in California? Like every time I've talked to someone from San Diego, they always say San Diego, California. I guess we all just get certain ways of saying things. Toronto, San Francisco Bay Area, Maryland, Nahunta. I'm going to look that up. I got to know. I got to know. Where's Nahunta? North Carolina. Oh, Nahunta. It looks, is that a small town? It says township. It's got to be because it doesn't look built up. Well, that's why I've never heard of it. Okay. I'm just looking it up here. Oh, I see. Oh, interesting. Geez, the states are huge. There you are. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Now I know. Okay, let's get going with your parenting questions. Again, I'm sorry I was late. I got yabbing on at Facebook. I'm on YouTube the whole time, though. Okay. Okay, question. 1.5-year-old tantrum, but wanting me to hold her while throwing a fit, reaching up for me. I don't do that. You've got to let them learn how to get through it. You got to let them learn how to get into a tantrum, how to have a tantrum, and how to get out of it all by themselves. But you're right there. You're ignoring them, but you're right there. At the very minimum, I might just go, yeah, you're okay, and pat them, and then I just do it once. And then just go on about your business. Don't walk away from them, though. Let them keep hanging on to you. But you're just doing your own thing. You are ignoring that. They are way less upset than they look. They just are. They're extremely dramatic. And but yeah, the sooner you get good at this, the sooner their tantrums are going to diminish in duration, frequency, and intensity. If you give into that stuff, you're actually rewarding it. It's like I'm having a tantrum, you pick them up and it's like, oh, I'll keep doing tantrums. You're teaching them that tantrums are good. I want to teach them tantrums are not good. They're not bad behavior, but they're not something you want. So you ignore the crazy and reward the calm. So as soon as they finished having a tantrum, then you might pick them up, but don't make a big deal out of it. Oh, it's okay. I'd pick them up and go, okay, you want to go over and read a book or something? You know, like it's no big deal. London. Hi, London. Wisconsin. Panama. Panama, it's fun to say. We used to live in Australia, and we used to go up the coast in Brisbane, Queensland, and I used to love staying in Mooloolaba, just so I could say, we were in Mooloolaba. I love that. New Jersey, Serbia. Excellent. Welcome. I love it. My 1.5-year-old gets so excited and gives kisses, but sometimes bites and bites my newborn. Yeah, you've just got a consistent corrective action. Every time they bite her, you see them going in, and also keep their face away from that newborn. You do not want any teeth marks in a new baby. So yeah, you just have to protect the baby. They don't know what they're doing. They're only 1.5. They're just crazy. I'm going to read up my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. In case anyone's new here, I say this every day. Okay, number 1, child-proof your home so you never have to say no. I got a lot of flack on that. So you never have to say no. Kids should learn the word no. Yeah, they can learn the word no, but it's just a basic statement. So you don't have to keep saying no, don't touch that. No, don't touch. They can still learn the word no. They're going to do lots of other stuff that you have to say no to, but that's just a general statement. So child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. And you bond with your toddler by entering their world. You don't go to the nail salon with a toddler to bond with them. You watch how they play and you join in. Enter their world. They just look at you differently when you enter their world. Number 4 is you stop with the mini therapy sessions when you're disciplining. All this conversation about big feelings and big emotions, it's garbage. It's absolute crap. That's not for them. That's for you. They're not about mini therapy sessions. They don't want to discuss their big feelings and big emotions. They don't want to be laying on a couch talking about their life. They just want consistent corrective action and move on. Get it done. Consistent corrective actions, because they learn through repetition. So no words, just actions. You can just say no just to signify you're starting with an action. So if they hit with a toy, you say no and take the toy away. Put it up where they can't get it. The last one, number 5, is stop trying to figure toddlers out. They're not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They're just forming. They've got one marble and some tumbleweed floating around in there. I always say they're crazy, but it's more that they just haven't developed sanity yet. They might even go like this and smear poop on the wall. Can you figure that out? No. They're just forming. Cute as a button, but they're all feet, no brains. How can you teach a 2-year-old from taunting the dogs? Consistent corrective action. You say no, and then you might take something away from them or whatever. Remove the dog, remove them from the dog. But yeah, okay. Everyone hates it when I say this, but you know what? If I had kids who were tormenting a pet, I would rehome the pet. Like if I couldn't control the child, I would rehome the pet. My kids learned from day 1, you do not pick up the dog, because what if they dropped her? And you don't go too close to the bird cage and scare the bird. So they learned that from really young, but consistent corrective actions. It was like, no, you don't do that. So, and they didn't like that serious face on mom. I was a very goofy, playful mom. They liked that mom. Come on, let's go do this. Let's do that. But if they did something I didn't like, I'd go, no, And they'd look at me because they weren't used to that, because I was a very goofy, we had fun. So yeah, that's part of leadership, is they're not going to, if you just say no all the time and you're not fun, they're not going to listen to the no's. They want the fun. They wanted fun, mom. And they lost that if they did something naughty. I'd say no. And they'd listen because they didn't hear it that often. They were pretty easy kids. New York. Michigan, the sun was shining today. Oh, I don't want to hear from you. It's cloudy here. I don't want to hear that. I don't need to hear it. Florida, don't tell me it's sunny there either. I don't want to hear it. North Pole, oh, welcome. I'll bet it's not warm there. Texas, we just had a really rough couple of weeks here with nothing but rain. We even had a bit of snow. We don't always get snow, but we had some snow. But I don't like it. St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, isn't it? Not St. Louis. Is it St. Louis? It's St. Louis. DC, District of Columbia. Mostly Americans on here. I always say I want to rent like a Winnebago or something and drive all around the States. I want to see that big ball of string and all that stuff. Thanks for your advice. Daughter is 18 months old. Ask for Cheerios every meal. Well, some teenagers might ask for beer at every meal too. Doesn't mean they get it. So you just say no and you offer what you've got. If they have a fit, that's on them. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about how they react to your leadership. Just lead. Just lead. California is different than North, Central, and South. You mean the San Diego comment? Is that what that is? I've been to California quite often. It's a really long state. "15-month-old keeps standing up on the couch. We tell him no, he thinks it's funny, and then cries when we put him down. So let him cry. Does it matter? Like, in other words, he cries when you're a leader? That's okay. He'll learn. You mean he cries when he's not in charge anymore? That's okay. He'll learn you're the leader. That's okay. That's their process. Crying is their process. They don't cry like we do. When he's crying, it's not because he's depressed and thinking about harming himself. He just didn't get his own way, right? We don't tend to do that. Maybe you do, but generally we don't as adults. But that's their language. If they don't get their own way, they tend to cry. That's okay. It's not a big emotional breakdown. Parents tend to think it is. It's not. It's okay. That's them processing. They can't get what they want, when they want, and how they want it. But I would also, he's only 15 months, I would redirect. You don't do it directly, you redirect indirectly. Oh, geez, that didn't make any sense, did it? Anyway, so if he keeps climbing on the couch, I'd get him down. Then I'd say, "Ooh, what's this over here?" But I wouldn't say, if he's on the couch, I wouldn't say, "Come play with this," because then you're rewarding him climbing on the couch. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you get him down and he's upset, I might go over, "Oh, what's this over here?" and talk to myself and play blocks or something. It's indirect redirection. Jeez, does that make any sense? Anyway, in my head it did. Calgary, hi Calgary. I've been there a few times. Miami, Florida, never been there. How much screen time is appropriate for a 2.5, 3-year-old? Should it be used as a distraction reward? I wouldn't use it as, okay. I don't know. Like, in other words, there's no set time that is healthy and isn't. And they're all different too. Some kids might be fine with 5 minutes. Others might be fine with 15 minutes, or that's your call. That's what I'm saying. It's a personal choice. How much screen time is right? We all know that too much isn't right, but that's up to you. That's your call. And I would say that some days are going to be different than others. Some of my clients just use it at bedtime, like after dinner, the parents will be cleaning up the kitchen. They'll say, "Okay, you can have 10 minutes of screen time, then we're going to get ready for bed." So a lot of parents do it that way with little ones. It's different for every family. Kind of got to decide, but try and be, you control it, by the way. Don't let them ever whine for it when you don't want them to have it and then give it to them. Don't do that. If you don't want them to have screen or the iPad or whatever, they start crying for it, make sure you don't give it. Like, don't make it a demand thing that they get it when they demand it. Okay, how do I stop my 3-year-old from saying bad words? Check out the behavior board that's in the link above and put down no bad words as her rule. And then there's a consequence, okay? How do you stop a 2-year-old from hitting and biting purposefully? Actually, I have a course on that called Toddlers Who Hit and Bite. If you want to check that out. I don't like that course. I don't know why. I've never liked that course. I don't like talking about hitting and biting. I don't know why. It doesn't upset me in any way. It's just, that's my least favorite course. It's one of my most popular courses, but I don't like it. I don't know why. I just finished the videos on it. All my courses have videos now. And it was my least favorite course. It always was. I don't like the name of it. Toddlers Who Hit Bite. It's got no pizzazz. Do you put potty talking on behavior boards? Seems to be getting reaction from all peers. I just put no bad words, but it doesn't matter. That's splitting hairs. It doesn't matter what you call it. What age should I let my child be bored? Well, they can all be bored. That's part of life. I mean, if you never allow them to sit in their own thoughts, then they're going to be like, come on, entertain me. It's going to be they're not going to be able to stop and think. They're not going to learn how to think and focus. So yeah, what age should I let my child be bored? Well, they're all going to be bored. From day one, there's going to be boring time. So I don't quite know what you mean by that. It's not like you go, okay, you're 4.5, time to be bored between 5 and 5:15. Like, you know what I mean? I think you're overthinking that. 2-year-old banging his head on the floor. Yeah, they're going to do that. Tantrums. I have a whole course on tantrum busting. If you're interested, that's in the link above. But yeah, you just physically restrain them. If they go nuts when they're having a tantrum and they're hurting themselves. If they hurt themselves, hurt others, or damage property during a tantrum, you physically restrain them. Just hold them for a minute or so. Let them go. If they go for it again, hold them again. You still don't talk to them or look at them. You just physically restrain them. They're going to go even more nuts. That's okay. That's their process. It's important that you don't interrupt that process. You just prevent them from being hurt. Also, if they are really prone to banging their heads on things, I've recommended this to tons of clients. I say just go online and order a foam helmet for your kid. You can literally just get foam helmets. I don't know if they're wrestling helmet or I don't know what they're for. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, and then as soon as they start having a tantrum, slap it on their head and just keep their noggin safe. And kids, parents have said they actually start to connect tantrums with that helmet and they hate it. But it's strapped on so they can't get it off. So they actually will start having a tantrum and then they'll stop because they don't want to get that helmet. I've heard of a few. It takes a while though. It's not going to be the second time or the third time, maybe the 30th or 50th time. Oh, sorry. I've got to flip ahead because people come and go. And I just realized I got tons of questions. Oh, geez. Sorry. Okay, so I got to scroll to get the most recent ones in case people have left. Okay. 16-month-old threw a tantrum, cried so much and started hyperventilating. Is it normal? She was fine. It's really normal. Kids have even passed out, but I would go to a pediatrician if you want to get that checked out. I can't tell you what I would do with my kids or what I've done with other kids because I'm not a doctor. But doctors will say to do this too. It's an old wives, no, it's not a wives' tale. It's an old grandmother's trick, how to handle it when they start hyperventilating or holding their breath. Just look it up, but I can't recommend it because I'm not a doctor. So I'm not medically, can't recommend it. But yeah, it's normal. So I'm telling you it's normal, but there is something you can do. Look it up or ask your doctor. But I can't say it. She's in kindy and has to go to potty training, I'm guessing. She has to go to the toilet for herself. Okay, yeah. Check out my favorite course that I have. My boot camp course is my favorite. That's the big one. But my toddler courses, it's the potty party course, how to potty train in a weekend. Well, you can. It doesn't always happen that way, but it's possible. I trained my son in 1 day and my daughter in 2 days. No pull-ups, no night diapers, nothing. But anyway, check out that course. It's one of my mini toddler courses, potty party something. I don't know what I called it. I can't remember. But anyway, it's a party. You potty train, you have it like a party. And it's all positive. But yeah, check it out if you're interested, if you want to learn how to potty train. I suggest 2.5 if they're almost school in term 3. I don't know how. Oh, she's in kindy. I don't know. It's still work. But yeah. This is that. I was just talking about this. I don't know if I was talking about it here or on Facebook. Won't doing a chore as a consequence create a negative association with household chores? Don't they have that anyway? And what is wrong with that? What is wrong with them learning how to do something they don't like? And what's wrong with thinking chores are bad? I don't understand that. That's that pleaser parent mentality. Get that out of your head. It's okay that they don't think chores are good. It's okay that they learn to do things that they don't like, that they learn that they got to do what they need to do before they can do what they want to do. Everyone's so afraid of their children not liking something. Let's make everything fun and positive. That's ridiculous. Paying taxes, you think that's positive? There's lots of things in life that aren't positive. The sooner your kids learn that, the better. You think my kids like taking out the garbage, but they had to learn how to do that. I wasn't going to turn that into a party. I think it's important that they learn that there's some things that just aren't positive. Yeah, don't protect them from that. I get that a lot. I have no concept of why you would think that's a negative. Why you would think using a chore as a consequence because you don't want to put a negative. I literally cannot even wrap my head around that one. What is wrong with kids learning how to do something negative and thinking chores are negative? Most people don't like to, that's why they're called chores. Most people don't like doing them. And that's okay that they learn how to do what they don't like to do. That's the self-discipline. That's important. That's an important skill to have. You should love paying taxes. They're fun. They're fun. Put a positive spin on it. I can't even wrap my head around that. So many people ask me that, though. I can't. I don't know where it's coming from. Where are you learning this? Who's talking like that? Who's teaching this? I don't know why it frustrates me. It just does, because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, when you're giving a chore, it's outside of their normal chores. Like it's an extra chore. It's washing a window. So their chores are they have to, I don't know, put their dirty clothes in the hamper, hang up their laundry, make their bed, put their toys away. By the way, you did that as a consequence, you have to wash a window. Have them do an extra chore. I'll tell you what, you forgot to make your bed. Your rule was you have to do your chores every day. You didn't make your bed, so you have to make my bed and your bed tomorrow. Have them do an extra chore. That's along the same lines as people ask me, how do we make chores fun? You don't want to make everything fun for children because then they go to school. I don't want to do math. It's not fun. You got to teach them. They have to learn to do what isn't fun. It's a really important life lesson. You know, I hate cooking. I hate it with a passion. My mother loved it. I cook with hate. I hate cooking. I just hate it. I don't do it anymore. I'm a gluten-free health food vegan, so I just eat basically kale and all that all the time. So I don't really cook anymore. But I had to cook for 30 years for a family, and I cooked everything from scratch. I never enjoyed it. I always hated it. It's a nightmare. But I'm really into health food, so I had to do it. But yeah, I think it's important that kids learn how to do stuff they don't like. 3-year-old throws tantrum every time we leave a fun place. Do I just let it ride? Yeah, that's the transition stuff. A lot of kids, my son would, that was when he'd have a tantrum, is if we were leaving somewhere fun, he'd have a tantrum. So I would just let him have a tantrum, and you've seen all my tantrum stuff. Yeah, I just ignore the tantrum, and then as soon as he's done, oh, you all done? Okay, let's get going. You ignore the crazy, reward the calm. Any attention is reward. If you're talking to a child during a tantrum, you're feeding it, you're fertilizing it. It'll just grow. Grow and grow and grow. Don't interrupt their process. Allow them to learn how to get themselves out of that. Tantrums should stop at around 3.5 to 4. Because by that age, they've got more reasoning ability. They tend to only do what works. Tantrums should never work. No attention at all. None. God, I would love to tell you this story. I didn't ask permission, though. It's just a client, I think it was yesterday. Oh, she's just killing it. She's just got it. She is so empowered. That's like the height of my career is when I get a client who, like in week 3 or 4, and they turn up for a session and they just get it. They're just doing it. And they said, you know, I can't tell the story because I didn't ask permission to tell, even though it was just recent. If it was an older story, I would tell it because it would run into all the other clients. But anyway, yeah, this parent's just got it. Just got it. Once you flip and you get how to lead and you start to embrace the fit scenes and tantrums because you understand that's your opportunity to exercise your leadership and you get good at it, it works. The kids just start looking at you differently. It's just brilliant. Oh God, I love it when clients get like that. I just get so excited. That kid loves chores. That's okay. You can still use it as a consequence. You did something bad, replace it with something good. Do a good deed. It's okay. Don't get caught up in all that psychology of the consequences. They don't have to hate it. There are circumstances where, yes, you want them to hate it. It's a little bit different. But don't worry. Don't get caught up in all that. You did something bad. Now you're going to do a good deed to make up for it. Basically make amends. You don't have to hate it, but sometimes we do it like that. In coaching, I get much more specific. But if you're doing all this in your own, I analyze everything in coaching. But that's my job, not yours. So don't overanalyze that. Yeah, you do something bad, replace it with something good. Any tips to help a 2.5-year-old who develops separation anxiety with new baby? No, it's just a transition phase. They'll outgrow it. So just keep doing the dump and run. Like, you're okay. I'll see you later. Like, you always end like that. See you later. Not, bye, I miss you. Say, I'll see you later. And then go off. They'll eventually get over it. It's just stage after stage after stage with kids. That's the third baby came along. So is there one in between, or are they the middle one? If you've got 3 kids, 2.5 and under, wow. Oh, do you let them have a tantrum in a public place or remove them? Good question. I haven't been asked that for a while. You do if it's not going to annoy anyone. Like if you don't do it in a church or in a restaurant or, somewhere like that. But I'll tell you the story of my son's second to last tantrum. It was in a very loud, busy, crowded mall, so it didn't matter. Anyway, he was 3 years old and we were just leaving. He was happy to leave, by the way. It wasn't like he didn't want to leave. So we're holding hands and we're going, and he started having a tantrum over nothing. I don't even know why. Anyway, he didn't have many of them, but I was like, what the heck? Tantrums are nuts, right? So I just pulled him off to the side, got my nail file out, and I just stood there filing my nails. He knew the drill. It wasn't going to last long because he knew this mom's not going to give that any attention. That's not going to get him anything. And he didn't even want anything. I don't even know why he did it. So I'm like this. This was the funny part. It was such a loud, busy mall. And I guess I was funny to watch, like just this mother stand there filing her nails. So people kept coming up to me. And these young moms kept coming up to me. Oh, you should give him a hug. Talk about his big feelings. I'm like, oh, God. If you're just if you've only got little kids, like it's like it's like taking financial advice from someone with $10 in the bank. They don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, give him a hug, talk about his big emotions and I'm like, oh, keep going. But all these grandparents and moms with older kids kept coming up to me saying, you know what you're doing. Good on you. Oh, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I had tons of experience with kids before I had my own. Filing my nails. It only went on for a minute or two. Finally, he's finished. I said, oh, y'all done? Okay, let's get going. And off we went. No big deal. I don't discuss tantrums before, during, or after. There is no point. If you can make a point with me about why you should, good luck. I have child psychologists as clients. They've tried and I've talked them out of it. Do not discuss tantrums before, during, or after. The only thing you can discuss is if they did something during the tantrum, like they threw the remote at the TV and broke it. Wait till everything calms down, then you can discuss that. But not even with the age of under 3, really. But yeah, you can discuss something that they did during a tantrum, but you can't discuss the tantrum. And you only do that after the tantrums all settled down. So yeah. Yeah, you can let them have the tantrum in the car. So the fun place. So yes, if you're trying to leave, that's what I would have done with my son. Trying to leave and he's trying to get back in because he wants to play. I would have picked him up, put him in the car, and let him have a tantrum in the car. So yeah. And then I would have stood there filing my nails. No eye contact, no talking. They catch on, oh, this isn't going to work. And then they just stop having tantrums eventually. The tantrums will decrease in intensity, frequency, and duration. When you first start doing this, they're used to the old you. They're going to get worse before they get better to get the old you back, to get you to give them attention during a tantrum. It usually gets worse before it gets better. I have a whole course on tantrum busting if you're interested. I think that one, that's a popular course, that one. Yeah. And all my courses now have videos attached. I gave a refund to someone a couple days ago. She was really sweet. And she goes, I thought it was going to be a step-by-step guide on how to manage tantrums. And I went back and I looked at it. I don't know how on earth I'd change that. I said, oh, fine. Okay, I want to give you a refund. She was super sweet. And I gave her a refund on the course. And then I looked at the course and I thought, I don't know how I would do that. I can't think of anything to add to that course. Actually, it was way bigger before I even put it up there because I took out all the stuff you don't need. It's just simple. It's straightforward how you do it. How you act, how old they are, what you do, I mean, I looked at, I told her I was going to change it because of what she said, and I don't even know how I'm going to do that. I've still got a note to look at it. Anyway. My 2-year-old's very clingy, would throw a tantrum if I'm not next to him. Please help. Well, he's in charge then. You mean you make sure you're next to him to avoid a tantrum? If you are avoiding fits, scenes, and tantrums, they're in charge. If you're afraid of a fit, a scene, or a tantrum, they are in charge. And boy, do they know it. I often tell this. I first started working with this 8-year-old boy, and they warned me. They said he's a real handful, and he was difficult. Anyway, he didn't know me. And so I was sat down with him. We were introduced, and I went to work with him. And he asked for something ridiculous, and I said, "No, you can't have that. We're going to be working on this." And he looked at me, and he was the most snotty, evil face. He said to me, "If you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit." And I said to him, "Bring it on." Completely stone face, and he went like that, and he never did. I have no fear because behind every fit, scene, or a tantrum is a lesson. If you try and intercept that, they're in charge, and they just pick up on that energy. They pick up on your fear. So very clingy. He'll throw a tantrum if I'm not next to him. No way would I feed that. I just walk away and do the dishes or whatever I got to do. Let him have his tantrums. He's in charge. He's in charge, and he knows it. Yeah, when they're throwing stuff, I always check out the tantrum course. It goes into great detail, but you physically restrain them if they're throwing stuff. If they're damaging property, hurting themselves, or hurting someone else, you physically restrain them. Okay? Oops. Oh, sugar, I'm late again. I got to go to TikTok now. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out the link. You can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or you can hire me for coaching. Happy parenting. I'm moving over to TikTok now. I'm late again. I'm a minute late for TikTok. Darn it. I got to get a better system here. Come on, TikTok. There we go. Now I'm 2 minutes late. Great. Oh, I hate being late. It stresses me out. Okay. This is from Maja Henderson. Hey, Lacey, told me to ask my question in another live because the answer is tricky. Oh, I already answered all that. Were you here when I answered that? How do I do that with a 5-month-old that needs to be changed, fed in that moment? That's my most difficult. You didn't tell me about that. That makes it even harder. I already answered the whole tantrum question, how you stand and you ignore a tantrum, but you don't walk away from them. Like you don't go in the other room or anything. You kind of stand right there filing your nails. You want to look very specifically like you're waiting for a bus. Like you know they're having that tantrum, but you're just waiting for them to finish. As soon as they do you want to read a book? Or do you want to go to the park? If you're trying to feed a newborn and they're going nuts, it's more difficult, but you still try to ignore them. And changing feeding a 5-month-old, that's harder to pick them up and feed them. But yeah, I would even pick up the baby and just feed it and try and keep the other one away. But still don't look at them or talk to them. Any attention is tantrum food. Any eye contact or talking to a child during a tantrum is fertilizing it. It'll grow and grow and grow because it's working. They're getting what they want. They're getting attention. That's what they want. A child never tantrums in a room alone. If they're already in it, they might continue it, but they'll never start having a tantrum in a room by themselves. Tantrums are only done to get attention. If you give attention, you're feeding it, you're fertilizing it, it will grow and grow and grow. I don't know. 18-month-old pinching his neck seems like he's soothing himself. Should I correct? There's a lot of weird stuff that kids do. I can't talk about it all because those parents who have hired me and during coaching would know I'm talking about them. But yeah, some kids do some really weird stuff. And they usually outgrow it. So I wouldn't worry about it unless they're really harming themselves. Then you get in something else to do. I've got lots of things that I discuss in coaching, how to redirect that stuff. But yeah, sometimes I always say I've heard everything, And every so often I'll go, I haven't even heard of that before. But yeah, I've heard of them pinching themselves. Yeah, self-soothing. Um, they usually grow out of it. 3-year-old screams at bedtime during the night, but room shares with 19-month-old. How do we stop this? What I would do is I would move the 19-month-old into my room while I did sleep training with the 3-year-old. So in their own room. So I would move the crib and the baby the little one into my bedroom while I sleep train. Check out my bedtime battles course. It's a whole system. How you get them in bed, then how do you keep them there? It's loud. So yeah, can't help you with it. We can't do quiet bedtime routine. It is just loud because you have to let them get loud to get it out of their system. So yeah, check out my mini toddler course. It's the bedtime battles one. It's really frustrating for me sometimes when my hands are tied. And sometimes I'll get clients who say, I can't let them cry it out because I live in a small apartment with hardly any, like all my neighbors can hear. So I always say, let them cry it out at bedtime, let them have a tantrum, you don't interrupt it. Boy, are my hands tied when you can't allow any noise. I almost say, do you want a refund? Like, I don't even know what to do. If you can't address it, if you have to, the only way to stop that kind of stuff is to give them what they want. And you can't do that. It'll just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So we've done some negotiating with neighbors and say, look, it's only for like a couple of nights and then it shouldn't happen again. How about I buy you some flowers? Give you a certificate for a dinner out or something, we've had to resort to that sort of stuff because sometimes kids are loud. You can't just have quiet kids all the time. Oh, goody. 3-year-old will only sleep on the couch, won't go in his room. You need my bedtime battles course. He's in charge. Yeah, you need that course. You don't need it, but check it out if you want that course. I wouldn't allow that. What to do when kids say we are bored to tears? Oh, I love this question. My kids, they both did this. They're 5 years apart. My son was about 5, probably, and he had just been at a friend's house, and he would have heard it over there because it's never happened at our house. He came home, and he'd never talked to me like this before. He said to me, "I'm bored," in that snotty tone. "I'm bored." And I guess the other mom said, "Oh, here's some candy or here's some money." I don't know what happened. Anyway, and when he said that, I looked at him like this. He went, never mind, never mind. So I thought, are you kidding me? So I said, "Oh, is my precious little boy bored?" And he went, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not." He knows me. And he thought, oops, I made a big mistake. I took him in the laundry room, filled up a bucket and gave him a mop. He was never bored again. 5 years later, my daughter, the exact same thing. She just came home from a friend's house and said, "I'm bored," in that snotty tone. And my son started laughing right away. And sure enough, she was mopping. They were never bored again. It's okay for kids to be bored. That's okay. I was meeting their needs. They had enough stuff to do. And it's okay if they sit there and just draw or something for an hour. That's just fine. They have to learn. I'm not there to juggle and entertain them all 24/7. But yeah, because I was meeting their needs. I played with them a lot. I knew I was meeting their needs. So it's not like I was ignoring them all the time. Yeah. Boy, they weren't bored ever again. Or if they were, they certainly never expressed it. My son is learning to regulate his emotions. Those are big words. Just a little kid. When he's angry, he screams his legs out. I don't know how old he is. I don't know if he's having a tantrum. Is it when you say no, or he just doesn't get candy when he wants it? I don't know. There's not enough information there. Night terrors. Yeah, this came up. I was just answering comments today, and I said, "Turn up." Did you come from that? I said, because when people ask me questions in comments, I generally don't answer them in the comments. I just, guide them to a course or another video or something where I've answered it, or ask them to come into a live. So night terrors. Now, I have actually talked to doctors about this because I said to them, night terrors, I always thought, whenever I worked with kids who had night terrors, I thought, to me, it sounds like they're just not waking up from a nightmare. They're not aware that they're awake. They're still living in the nightmare. And the doctors have said that I've talked to have said, yes, that's what they think is happening. So what I suggest you do is you get a sound machine or one of those galaxy lights or something that makes them aware that they are awake. So once they are awake, it's easier for them to wake up. Evidently, they'll get used to it. They'll get better at it. But night terrors are a real thing. It just means they don't wake up from the nightmare. Well, they do, but they think they're still in the nightmare. Yeah. It would be scary. So yeah, get a sound machine or something that shows them this, I'm awake now and I'm safe. Those sound machines. I remember the first time I ever heard when a client had it in the background. She was putting the baby down during a coaching session and she turned on the sound machine. Oh my God, it sounded like I was in the womb. It was so loud. It was for a baby and it was like a heartbeat, but whoosh, whoosh, just like in the womb. But it was the loudness I couldn't get over. Really loud. And the baby, and I said, does the baby sleep through that? And she goes, oh, right off like that. Like that's like in the womb. Wow. Okay, good. Oh, such a good question. This is from Rachel. Because I talk about toy rotation. What do you do about books? Rotate them? No, I don't. I leave out the big stuff like books, Lego, Barbies, and the PlayStation or gaming consoles. You only put all those other toys that make all the mess. That's what you put away. Or if they are going to mess up with Lego, my kids knew when they pulled out Lego, that pretty much was set up in the living room. I would put a blanket out, so that's where it stayed. And then they would play with it maybe for a couple days, but it could stay out there. And then they could do other stuff and then go back to it. But once they stopped going to it, it had to be packed up. So they learned, it's just like in classrooms, they play like that. They say, okay, now is time for this. So I made like big project toys would kind of stay out, but they couldn't just throw Lego around all the time or it would have been put away. And I only would have pulled it out if they wanted to play with it specifically. But they just learned from a really young age not to throw everything around all the time. They learned to respect stuff. When they were really little, though, there's no way Lego would be out. And all the books, I probably would have just kept a few books out and rotated those. But generally, I never put books, Lego, Barbies, or gaming consoles or anything like that away. Just all the other crap, all that other stuff. Yeah, that's what I rotated. And it's not that they haven't seen it before, but they do tend to play with it like it's new. And you know what's interesting is when you pull out a toy that they might not have seen for a month or 2 or 3, they play with it differently often because they're older, right? They've developed different skills. So if they hadn't seen it for 2 months and they were 1, and now all of a sudden they're 14 months old, they'll play with it differently. I found that interesting. I thought, oh, they didn't do that before. My son is so dependent on me. Well, I don't know. Is he 2 or 20 or I don't know what you mean, but is there a question? I don't know. Oh, okay. Is that the same one? My son too, he's so dependent on me even going to the bathroom with me. Yeah, wait till he's 16 years old. He won't want anything to do with you. You're going to miss that time when he was following you into the bathroom. I swore it got to be a joke, and I'm sure every mom can relate to this. I thought I would try and sneak away into the bathroom just so I could have like a private pee. No way. The kids were like little prairie dogs. They were like, "Ooh, mom's in the bathroom," and then they came. Always had naughty. You know why? Because you're trapped. They've got you where they want you. You can't get away. You're sitting there or you're showering or in the tub or whatever. You can't get away. They love that. It's like you're at their beck and call. They've got your full attention. What else you doing, right? That's why. So yeah. How do you ask your kids about if they're being and getting bullied? Okay, bullying is, God, that's a whole topic. Yeah, I wonder if I should do a course on that. So I'll write that down for future. Bullying. I used to do a lot of TV and radio, so that was a topic that I discussed so much. I couldn't believe it. And it came up all the time, especially online bullying. But anyway, so yeah, that's, geez. Should I even get into it here? Bullying. Okay. Here's what I did. I was only ever bullied once, and I was in grade 2. This is my own bullying story. And this also is how you handle bullies. I just don't know how I knew how to do it, but I did. And this is what I teach. So I was in grade 2 and I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of class. Now, that was unusual to be in the hallway at school all by yourself. I was used to other kids being in there. So it was really exciting. Go to the bathroom and I'm coming back to class. I'm the only one in the hallway. Coming out of the principal's office was the grade 5 bully of the whole school. He was big and mean and I was terrified. It was just him and I in the hallway. I thought, oh my God, he's going to kill me. And I had to get past him to get into my classrooms. Anyway, so I couldn't avoid him. Now, my maiden name was Hanky, and everyone knew everyone's name back in the school. So when you're little. And so he knew my last name, and he came up to me, he'd never talked to me before. He came right up in my face and he said, Hanky Panky. And I said to him, I'm in grade 2, I said to him, I prefer Snot Rag and Boogie Bundle. oh, well, got to get back to class. And he just went like, he never came near me again. I was never bullied again. What I had done was I'd agreed with him, used humor, made fun of myself, and then I gave him an out. I had to go. So this is what I suggest you do with kids. And I don't know how I knew how to do that. I'm just lucky, I think. But this is what I teach. You agree with the bully, use humor if possible, make fun of yourself like they did, build on it. So you're not disagreeing with them and you're just sort of lightening the mood, and then give them an out. Say something at the end of it like, oh, well, what have you got for lunch? You have to give them an out or they'll come at the kid again. They'll keep going. So yeah, oh, what shows do you like? You got to change the subject, redirect. Anyway, you do this with your kids and you role play. So you play the bully and then they play the bully. You go back and forth role playing. Teach them how to do this. And because just telling them what to do doesn't do anything. They're going to go to school and Billy's going to come up to them and they're going to go, I don't know. But if you've rehearsed it at home, it tends to come out. If they've already said it 20 times with you and make it fun. Do it like theater. Don't make it all serious. Do it like theater. So that it'll just come out easier if they've already practiced it. Now, if it's physical bullying, okay. This one I always said whenever I was doing media work, I always said, I'm not going to discuss that because I think adults should take care of physical stuff. I would never teach a kid to defend himself because bullies are not all cowards. Some of them are practiced and very good at fighting. So your kid could literally be pounded to the ground. So yeah, I would never teach a child to defend themselves physically. I just wouldn't. I've heard too many stories about bullies who were very good at fighting. So anyway, that's how you deal with bullying. I could go on about it. I probably should do a course on that actually, because online bullying, that's another thing. I get a lot of that on here. I'm 63 years old. I don't give a hoot what anyone says about me. It doesn't bother me at all. But if I was 13, it might. Yeah, it's different. So yeah, online bullying. That was what I talked about more than anything was online bullying. That was years ago. It was new back then. Philippines, hello. I work in mental health office teaching skills to kids. I love your videos for skills for parents. Yeah, I teach parenting. I never teach kidding. I don't tell kids how to kid or teenagers how to teenager or toddlers how to toddler. I teach parenting. I know how to get respect with all ages. I specialize in teenagers. They're my favorite age. And when you know how to give respect to get it, everything just kind of falls into place. You never have to fix kids. They just respect you and they treat you well. That's the way it works. You make them like themselves, bring out the best in them, give them a voice too. You don't want obedient soldiers. That's ludicrous. You want them to have confidence. You want them to have a voice, say what they're thinking. And, they'll do so with respect though. If you're a good leader, if you treat them with respect, you'll get it back. The problem with parents though, is if you haven't done that in the past, they remember the old you. You've got some history. The older they are, the more difficult it is to change. But yeah, it's going to be hard. It usually gets worse before it gets better. Everyone wants the rainbow, but I always say, are you ready for the storm? Because there's no rainbow without a storm. So it's going to get rough for a while. And I always warn parents about that. And once they accept that, everything gets easier. So I say, you have to embrace every fit, scene, or a tantrum, because that is them expressing the fact that they don't want you to be a leader. They still want to continue to be a leader. But eventually they'll catch on when you get good at this. Anyway, check out the link above for my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses. My big boot camp course goes from 3 to 12 years old when you're at the height of your leadership. And then the coaching, that's the next level up. That's one-on-one with me. I've changed that now due to my availability. I need to control how many clients I take in. So right now I've got openings, but I don't always, so I can control that now. But you have to send me an email if you want to work with me. I only have the 3 and the 5 session packages right now. I didn't like the 1 session ones. I had that for 17 years. I never liked it. I never liked just doing 1 session with a client because I don't get the follow-up. It's like I finish with them and then I'm like, oh, okay, good luck. I want to know how they're doing. So yeah, I never liked it. So I took that away. Oh, the only way I'll do that is if it's a repeat client, someone who wants to come back for, something. But so they've already gone through, we've already worked together and then they just want to come back because something new came up. So many of this is a good one. I'm assuming, so I didn't catch what you might have been that teacher. So many of my parents struggle with recognizing they need structure and leader. Or were you in the mental health field? I don't know where you work. Anyway, parenting's the hardest job in the world with the least amount of training, but everyone expects you to be an expert, especially you. Parenting used to be considered easy years and years and decades ago because there was a village. People had their grandparents, their great grandparents, the neighbors. Everyone had kids too. So we were all in the same. It was just the way it was. It was a village. Everyone was in the same boat. So you had a whole village raising kids. Now it's an island. You're on your own. And you've got no training. You expect yourself to be an expert. There are skills involved in parenting. You have to learn this stuff. Some people, it might just come naturally. That depends on how you were parented. I think I benefited from, I had really, I think, good parents. They let me get away with a lot more than I would let kids get away with, but they were older and I was adopted. So I think they kind of gave in a little bit more than they should have. But overall, I was never yelled at or anything. But my mom was the leader. I cared what my mother thought. If I ever saw this look like this one, I felt sick. Like I hated my mom's disapproval. It was just mom's look. I just hated it. So yeah, and if she was sitting down, this is what it looked like. And I would, I hated it. And I had mom's look too. It looked a bit different, but I had mom's look. Mine was more like this. Are you kidding me? And my kids would go, never mind, sorry, mom. Like it wasn't fear, it was just respect, right? So yeah, but every parent does the best they know how. Every parent does the best they know how. They don't do the best they can always, but they only can work with the knowledge they have. Most parents these days are afraid of their kids. They're terrified of a fit scene or a tantrum. I embrace that. That's the lessons. That behind every fit scene or a tantrum is a lesson. It's wonderful. It's like that kid. I always talk about this, that 8-year-old. I first met him. I was working with him. And he said to me, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to have a fit. And I said, bring it on. And he never did. Like, come on, bring it on. I know what I'm doing. He sensed that right away. He didn't have a fit, nothing. He was good as gold with me after that. Can't be afraid of your kids. But you have to mix it with a lot of love and a lot of fun too. Like parenting, a tiny part of it is discipline. Leadership is all about bringing out the best in them. A child's love language is fun. It's not praise. Praise is overused. Fun is underused. Too many parents praise, but then they don't play with them. You're wonderful. I love you. You're so special. You're just so smart and you're so handsome. Mommy, can you play with me? No, I'm busy. Like they don't give a crap that you just praise them. What they want is you get down the ground and play blocks with them. That's what they want. That's their love language. You do that and you're going to get so much better behavior out of them. You wouldn't believe it. That in itself can improve the behavior. Well, that was a speech, wasn't it? This is such a good point. My mom was the best. She knew it all. So isn't that great? Like that you think that highly of your mom. I never set I was very much a leader, but I never set myself up as an authority or someone who knew anything. Like whenever my kids would ask me something and I would say, I don't know, I'm not that smart. And they'd laugh. And then I'd say, let's figure it out together. So I never set myself up as knowing a lot, but boy, was I was a leader for sure. But I never set myself up as a know-it-all. Not to say your mom did, but it was just a good point I wanted to bring up. So yeah, I was always very quick to say, I don't know, let's figure it out together. I wanted to bring them in on stuff. I never wanted to tell my kids what to do. I wanted them to figure it out. Like when I was little, I would say to my mom, Mommy, what should I do? This kid said something, and my mom would say, I don't know, you're a smart girl, you can figure it out. And we'd talk about it. I always thought I was solving all my own problems. She was feeding me information, but I always thought she made me stop and think. She made me work things through. She gave me a lot of confidence. My mother, she gave my brother and I a lot of confidence. That's something, she had a gift. We were pretty up ourselves. We had a lot of confidence in our abilities. And that was my mother. Manners and confidence. That was my mom. Those two things are very important to my mom. Confidence by giving you more independence. Independence. I think that's a little bit different than, that's part of it, but being a problem solver, being independent. I don't quite word it that way. I see what you mean though. I still ran everything past my mom. I told my mom everything. My kids told me everything. But my mom never told me what to do and I never told my kids what to do. How do you exactly help children grieve when a loved one passes away? You got to let it happen. It's not something that you can't fast track it. You can't pretend it isn't horrible and sad. Yeah, they are gone. You're never going to see them again. But weren't you lucky to have someone that you're that close to? Like, this is just part of life. Death is part of life. So you can't try and make it easier for them, is what I'm saying. But let them talk, and don't try and pull stuff out of them, and talk about the good times, but also let them talk about how they feel. Like, um, secrets and silence implies shame. Don't make them ashamed of grieving and crying. Come on, you're all right. You'll see them one day. Don't sugarcoat it. Death is horrible. Don't sugarcoat it. Like, my dad died when I was 14. Oh my God, it was the worst thing I ever went through. I've been through some horrible stuff in my life. Nothing could ever, well, I guess it could, but I mean, that was, anything happened to your kids would be the worst. But, I was just 14 when my dad, he was sick for 4.5 years before that, cancer. And it was just horrendous. And yeah, you can't sugarcoat that. How do you sugar? Oh, well, weren't you lucky to have him? Yeah, but now I lost him. Like, yeah. So I know what grief is like as a kid. It was horrible. It changes who you are. I lost my childhood for sure. When you have to think about, I knew he was dying when I was 11. I figured it out. Then no one told me. And my childhood disappeared like that. It was gone. Actually, that's when I started volunteering in daycare centers. I found that soothing because I was very maternal, very motherly. So I found working with other kids helped my grief. There you go. That's a good one. And also, I was the only one I knew who lost a parent. Kids tend to think that no one else knows what that feels like. But, if you know some other kids that have gone through something similar, get them to talk, like introduce them to them and say, they lost their parent too, or they lost their grandparent. They understand it. It's hurt. So not that they're going to talk about it. It's just nice to know that they're not alone. This one I can't answer, but I'm going to read it out and I'll tell you why I can't answer it. How often in a day should we play with our kids? Mine want me all day long. Yeah. I would play with my kids for a while. It was very intense. Like, we do everything in their world. We'd build forts underneath the dining room table, climb in there. You know what I used to do? I used to say, well, this fort's just for kids, so I don't think adults are allowed. And my kids would laugh and they'd giggle and they'd be in the fort. Then I'd go off and read a book or something. So, but then I would often say, because I knew I was meeting their needs. I was a very involved mother. And I knew that I felt no guilt at all when I said to my kids, okay, that was great fun. Now scram, mom needs some mom time. And they would just happily go off because they had a lot of fun with mom, but they also learned mom needs her own time. You can't just play with them all day long. Mom needs to do some sewing. I made all their clothes, and mom needs to make dinner. So they just learned. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get going now. If you want to check out the link above, you can get my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course. All the courses have videos in every section now. There are videos in all the courses now. And then boot camp courses from 3 to 12 years old. That's all about you and your leadership skills. If you want the next level up, that's coaching one-on-one with me. I've changed it due to my availability. I want to be able to control how many clients I have now, because it gets a little bit crazy sometimes. So you have to email me. Right now, I'm taking new clients. So if you're interested in coaching, you have to email me and tell me the problems you're having. So we'll make sure it's a fit. You might just need the boot camp course. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow sometime, and happy parenting. Bye now.